Did you know data brokers are making billions selling your personal information, usually without your consent? That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based support. Other companies might just sell credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/hidden. Protect yourself now at aura.com/hidden.
Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, the podcast aimed to inspire you to find your voice and become the best, truest, and most authentic version of yourself. Spiritually intimate, soul-to-soul conversations, life-changing insights, and spiritual teaching and healing. Real, raw, unfiltered. Join your host, Tisha Michelle.
Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so quick announcement. I had really been thinking of how can I serve more people in a way that still feels good to me, that's not super draining and also affordable. So I decided to launch two different subscription-based services. The first one is where every Sunday I come to your phone with a Oracle/Tarot card pull and a voice memo of my intuitive interpretation of that. The second involves some journal prompts and some soul work. And if you haven't worked with me before, heard me talk about soul work is basically AKA your homework, but homework for the soul. So I'm not going to go into all of the details of those subscriptions, but if it is something that you would like more information on, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Mindset Slayer, or you can check the show notes and you'll see all my contact information there. And just send me a message and I will get you all the details. All right, some gratitude time now. So in this present moment, I would say that I'm definitely grateful for my senses, and let me tell you why. So I have been sick with the C word, COVID, and I lost my smell and taste. I still haven't gotten it back yet, but I'm praying it's coming. And it's been so crazy to lose, both the smell and taste, but more so taste, because I can't taste anything. I can't taste anything. It's just ridiculous. So I'm very, very grateful for it. And I also came to the conclusion that I eat for taste. God damn it. It's been so much easier my appetite hasn't really been there anyway with being sick. But at the same time, it was literally one day I had a piece of fish and I couldn't taste anything of it. But I knew and I felt that I was eating this just for nourishment, because I needed to nourish my body. So it has been a blessing, also in that sense, because now I'm not just eating just for this taste and just to be eating. It was really like every piece that I put into my mouth, I was like, this is nourishing my body. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I'm definitely grateful for my senses, and I cannot wait for them to come back. All right, so what about you guys? What are you grateful for? But before you express that gratitude, I want you to get centered and grounded. So you guys know the deal, unless it's your first time. And if it is, welcome, welcome again. All right. So unless you're driving, I want you guys to just close your eyes. And now I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you just to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. All right. So take another nice deep breath. Just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now let's do one more. Another nice deep breath. Breathing in through your nose and out your mouth. Yes, 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 and yes. All right. So what are you guys grateful for? Express that gratitude. Put it out there. Put me on pause and go journal about it. Scream it out loud. Say it in your head. Say it to the person next to you. Whatever. Whatever it is that you're grateful for, whatever pops to your mind, just know that it's perfect. Perfect for you. So express that gratitude. Put that good juju out. All right. So, question. Are you or have you been so caught up in the bigger picture that you forgot or even just neglected the now? And really think about that. Just getting so caught up in this bigger picture that you forget about the now. So I was having, there's certain things that trigger these thoughts of mine, right? I was having a conversation with a new client, and I love working with everyone that I work with. However, I really love new clients, people who are new to me or new to, their form of spirituality and they don't have these conversations with people in their life. So they get to really express and really truly be who they are when they're connecting with me, because there's just something within them that feels that this is a safe space, because it is. So I was having a conversation, doing a session with this new client. And it was something that I said, and I don't remember exactly, but I got to this part where I said, I made some comment like, yeah, or you're just going to have to, come back. And if you don't learn the lesson this lifetime, you're just going to have to come back and learn it again. And he was like, that. And I was like, what? He was like, that right there. He said, how do you know that that's to be true? And I said, what do you mean? He said, like, how do you know that we'd have to come back and learn it again if we don't learn it? And clearly he had heard this before. So then he said, something about different like religions, and he fired off a couple different religions and like the beliefs in there in this sense. So I gave him a quick backstory of how I even came to even have this conversation with him, with my best friend passing and me being inquisitive and just asking God or the universe. I don't know who I was talking to at the time. I was just talking and saying that there has to be more to life than this. And, and that's where the whole self-discovery started. So I was explaining that to him. And then I started talking about, beliefs. And I said, I feel like the ultimate is that we came here to evolve and grow, right? And if you've been with me for a while, you heard me say we came here to evolve and grow. And in order to evolve and grow, we have to learn lessons. And in order to learn those lessons, we have to have an experience. So I look at everything as an experience, right? Not a good or bad or right or wrong. It's just an experience. And what is that experiencing doing for me? And I said, that's all a part of our evolution and in our growth. And then he hit me with another question. And he said, okay, so after you evolve and grow and you learn all these lessons, then what? What happens? What's next? What's there? What's that bigger picture? And I just got quiet and pause. So part of this quietness was, preparing my answer, which was, I don't know. And then it was also a realization within myself and my own growth that I was okay with not having the answer. Right? I was okay with not having the answer. So in that split second, I was getting ready to respond, but I also had my own realization was like, wow, I'm actually okay with not having the answer to a question. And that was my own personal, battle where I got to have the answer for everyone. And if not, I got to figure it out. I got to find it for them because they need this. They need me, but at the same time, that was also something that I had been seeking and I haven't received that answer. Right. So I responded and I said, good question. So he hit me with like two things in one, right? And I love that though. So I said, good question. I said, I don't know. I said, that is actually something that I have been seeking and I've answered before, especially in the beginning of my journey. where I was so inquisitive and I was going down these different rabbit holes. And I just wanted to know, okay, so if I learn all this shit, then what happens? Where do I go? I even got to, I'm like, so are we just floating in this realm? And what's the purpose? What's the point of it? And I also got to a part where I said, I don't want to come back again. I want this to be my last lifetime. I was like, because this human shit is fucking crazy at times, right? It's stressful. It's hard. I don't want to do this again. This doesn't even make any sense. It's so dumb, right? So these are the different mixed emotions and feelings that I've had. So I went back to the first one and I explained to him, I said, where he said, how do I know that we'd have to come back and do it again? And I said, to me, it's like when you have a belief, right? Belief is just something you just believe in, right? However, sometimes you have to evaluate these beliefs and you have to look at it from a point of, is this belief hurting me? Is this belief that I have holding me back, or is it moving me forward? Right? So how does that belief feel to you? So when I told him, I said, so this is something that, when was on this discovery, that was presented to me. How was it presented? I honestly don't remember. I don't remember if it was something that I read or if it was a download that I got, however, the belief is here is that, we are here to evolve and grow. And I believe that wholeheartedly, truly believe that. And that we are learning some lessons, and the lessons are a part of our evolution and growth. So if we're here to evolve and grow, and we don't learn all those lessons that we decided we needed to learn for our evolution and growth, then we're going to come back and we're going to learn them again. Because why wouldn't we? If that's what we're here for and we're seeking this bigger picture, whatever it is, why wouldn't we evolve and grow? So we got to do this shit all over again. Right? It's just like, jumping double dutch or jumping rope, right? You're standing on the outside and you're trying to get into the rope, and then you're like, now, whatever makes you, if you even jump rope, and then you get in and you mess up. Oh, well, shit, I got to do it again, because the bigger picture is I want to jump rope. I want to jump rope. So I'm going to keep doing it again. Right. And say I stop jumping rope that day. Fuck it. I don't get it. But I want to actually jump rope because it makes me feel good. And it's something that I just want to do. So I'm going to keep doing it. Whether I stop today and then pick up 2 weeks from now, I still want to be able to do it. I want to get to that feeling, because I'm like, oh yeah, you're just feeling like, oh shit, I'm the shit. Like, yeah, now I'm going to turn around and do tricks or whatever the case may be. Right. So when I'm looking at this evolving and growing and having these lessons, I'm like, well, if I didn't learn these lessons, why would I just stop and not try to learn them again if I knew that the bigger picture and my goal was to evolve and grow? So I'm explaining this to him, and I'm like, it's just something that I believe in. And I don't feel like this belief is hurting me or this belief is holding me back. I feel like this belief is actually accelerating and moving me forward. Right. So when I was explaining this to him, I was telling him that it just has to be something that you believe in. But what's the reason that you believe in it? Right. So I'm not saying that my belief of, past lives or doing it again is 100% true, because I can't tell you that. I can tell you that, but who would I be? I'd be like the rest of the world, just trying to tell you what you need to believe in and tell you what your truth is. But it is my truth. And that belief, I do feel, is moving me forward, right? So it's kind of like, if I know that there's a lesson in this pattern, this thing that I keep doing over and over and over again, well, is this thing that I keep doing over and over and over again hurting me? Is it holding me back? I mean, it's not moving me forward because I keep getting the same outcome, right? So I know that there's a lesson in there for me that's going to help move me forward in life. So I choose to believe in that. So I didn't have an answer for him to say, oh, well, this is how, and this is the proof that this is, because then I would be trying to convince him into something that he might not resonate with and just might not work for him. Right. So he said that he definitely believes in past lives. He believes that we were here before, but he's not sure if he believes that we will come back again. No, I didn't get into that whole thing with him because that's his belief and that's okay. And as he continues to go through life, some things may really solidify that for him, or some things may say, holy shit, no, this is completely not that. So then we get back to the second part of it where he says, okay, so we've evolved and grown and we've done all these things and we learned all the lessons. So now what? Now what? You know, and I said to him, especially in the beginning of this journey, I was like, okay, so we're going to learn all these lessons and we're going to evolve and grow and we're going to do all these things. So then what happens? So what happens when I learned all that? And these are the questions that I was seeking, and I was talking to my higher power and stuff and saying, but what? But what's next? What's next? What's next? I mean, I was so focused on this bigger picture, jumping all the way ahead to all these lessons that I've learned and all this evolution and growth. And I wanted to know what that was, that I actually wasn't even really evolving or growing. I was forgetting and neglecting the now, the journey, because I was so caught up on the bigger picture. Now, before you start saying, but wait a minute, I hear a lot about we have to focus on the bigger picture and we got to look at, at where we're seeking and where we're going. Yes, I do agree. And I think there needs to be some form of harmony. Some people like to say balance. I love the word harmony, right? So I feel like there needs to be some type of harmony with that, where we know that there's a bigger picture and this is what this bigger picture is, right? So we have that just so we can kind of be in this now and know what we're working towards, right? And I think that when it comes to more of the practical things, that's great, right? The practical things like I want to own a home care agency in every state. That's the bigger picture, right? So now I know, okay, so what's your bigger picture with this? I want to have a home care agency in every single state. Great. That is the bigger picture. And in here in the now, I need to start where I'm at, whatever that may be. And servicing one client at a time, one state at a time, one whatever at a time. And then this is what my bigger picture is, right? So that makes sense. Then when you get into this part of like, what am I doing all of this for? What am I evolving and growing for? Like, what happens when I die? Or what happens when this? What happens when that? We don't know. We don't know. And you get so caught up in this bigger picture of things and you start to lose sight of right now. And then when you look, it's 2 years later. And maybe you're in the same spot that you were in 2 years ago and you haven't even grown because you're so focused on, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? That you're forgetting about the next can't even be created until you take care of the now. So something he had said to me when I was doing the reading, and I don't remember everything, but I said something to him about being in the present. This is before we actually got into the conversation. So now we're into this part and he brings back what I said. He said, and that makes sense because when you said something to me about being the present, he said, my loved ones say that to me all the time, that I'm so focused on the bigger picture that I'm not present and I'm not present with them. And he was like, and I want to be more present. He was like, but my mind is always going into the what's next, well, what's there that I don't even enjoy here. Right? So then we started to speak a little bit more and he started talking about the so much injustice in the world. He talked a lot about homeless people. And I'm just feeling like that passion that's in there that I don't even think that he fully understands, right? So I said something to him during his session, the part where I'm giving him the energy and the reading. And I said, the energy and the way that I'm feeling, it's almost like you're trying to figure out your place in the world. Now, once again, this is all before we get into this deeper conversation. So he brings that part back up too. And he says, yeah, you said this part. And he said, and that really resonate because I am trying to figure out where do I fit in this world? Where do I fit at in this bigger picture? And he just kept talking about this bigger picture. And you could see how he was just neglecting the now because he was just this bigger picture, the bigger picture. So I really want you to think about in your life where you're focusing more on the next, the bigger picture, and you're actually neglecting right now. Where can you be more present at in in your life or in your dreams or in your goals. I mean, it's cool to have a goal and to have a bigger picture of, of something. But what about right now? The thing that you can, air quotes, control, right? The thing that you're responsible for right now. So he was talking about homeless people, and he was talking about being in a good financial situation. He was like, honestly, he had talked about the different aspects that he had been in, with finances, not having money before, into having money, and to realizing how he can generate money. And he was like, and we're good right now. He was like, we're in a really good place. He's like, and mind you, this is in between. There's so much injustice in the world and so much homeless, and how people, don't have money for, bills, and it keeps piling up. And then they're just in this hopeless state, and they just don't see how they can get out, and how people commit suicide or people end up homeless. And he said, I'm in a really good financial state. So, I mean, he's like, money is not everything to me. He's like, I understand it's a tool, and I understand that it's something that I can generate, whenever I want. He was like, but we're good. And it's just so much injustice. And he just kept doing that. Right. And talking about, the bigger scheme of the world. So, I said to him, and I don't remember exactly how, but I said to him, I said, you keep talking about all this injustice in the world and how it's not fair and how there's all this homelessness. And then you also just say you can create, money, how to generate money, and you're good and you're okay with what you have, and you don't even have to have a lot more. And I said, well, what if, since you're good for yourself, right, and your family, and you know how to generate it, well, why don't you just generate some more? So now you can help with this injustice in the world, and you can help with the homelessness. He was like, wow. And he was like, yeah, I've given before. I've given, I'll keep like $100 in the car, and if I break it and I have change, I'll just give it. He said, but I never really thought about that. He's like, I just keep thinking about how much injustice there is in just the bigger picture of the world. And I said, the thing is, and I'm telling him, I said, the thing is we're not responsible to save the world. We're responsible for ourselves first, right? We get ourselves right. And in his case, you get yourself right. You get your money, you're able to survive and take care of your family. And now you can contribute to the world. It might just be one homeless person. You might start a nonprofit, right? And be able to be into this sense. So while we're saying things like, well, I just want to be very selfless and just say like, money is not everything. I have enough money for myself, and I'm perfect for me and my family, or maybe it's just you, and I'm perfectly fine. But there's so much injustice in the world, and there's so much of this and that. Okay, be of service. Be of service. And this is how you work towards that bigger picture, whatever that bigger picture is. You may get to that bigger picture, and that bigger picture is that fulfillment where you just feel purposeful. Maybe all along, that's the bigger picture. Right? But we might not know what that bigger picture is if we keep neglecting and forgetting about the now, the here and the now, right now. What can you do right now? Like, what action can you take in your life? What choice can you make? What thing can you do right now? And just start there. And when you get to that bigger picture, I promise you, you'll know what it is. You'll know what that bigger picture is, right? So I asked him what he did for a living, and he told me, and I said, because he had mentioned something about he knows how to work and money. I said, the next time you see a homeless person, I want you to trust your heart. Trust what you're being called to. You might be called to give them money. You might be called to give them a smile. You might be called to say hello. You might be called to write them a note, or to have a conversation. I said, maybe, because this is something that was coming through, I said, maybe ask someone, well, before you fell on hard times, what did you used to do? I said, you might be surprised. They might tell you that they used to do the line of work that you're in. Maybe maybe that homeless person that you were led to is your next employee, right? Think about it. Our work is what most people feel like gives them purpose, whether it's a job or your career or business. It's purposeful. So a lot of people, when they're unemployed, they become depressed because they feel like they're useless. and they don't have a purpose. I said, so imagine offering someone a job, they will work for the money that they're being given versus just someone just giving it to them. They don't feel purposeful. Okay, that's cool. That's nice, but I didn't do anything for this, right? We never know what's going on in a person's mind, right? So this particular client has so many questions of life. I mean, now our session was over and we went another hour and a half just now having deep conversation. And it was very, very gratifying. I like that, having those conversations. And he was so focused on the bigger picture of what happens next. Is there a past life? I mean, or do you repeat these lessons? What is this? Why is there injustice? Is God allowing the suffering, right? Why isn't God stopping it? Is there a heaven and a hell, right? All these questions that I'm pretty sure a lot of you have your own answers to, or maybe even question. But he was so focused on all these different things and these different bigger pictures that he was neglecting his now, which was his family. So I had said to him, I said, why don't you be intentional with this? Because a lot of times we forget that we are a spirit having a human experience. Having a human experience, and the human experience is the working, is the having the families, or not having the family, it's the traveling, it's those things. That is the human experience, right? And I said, and for you, you have a family. Part of your human experience and your lessons and stuff is you have this family that you're neglecting because you're in awe of everything in the world and all these different things that you're forgetting about them. So why don't you just be intentional with your inquisitive? Why am I having a hard time saying that word? You guys know what I'm saying. Asking a bunch of questions. That's so crazy. But anyway, so why don't you be intentional with that? And I said, give yourself 30 minutes or maybe an hour a day. That's for you to go down this rabbit hole and to ask these questions and to seek and all those things. Just be intentional with it. You don't have to just put that aside. Those are the things that's on your heart. It's in your soul and it's a part of your evolution and growth. Just don't let it overtake everything. So I was like, so set some time aside daily that you spend on that. So this way it can allow you to be more present, your significant other's life and in your children's life and your friends and whatever else it is, but being more here. So the same thing for you guys. I mean, whether you're someone that's seeking those questions and those answers and the bigger picture of that, or maybe it's more of the practical things and all, whatever it may be, just put time aside for that. So that way you can make sure that you're more in the now and more present and focusing on yourself, focusing on your family. And if you're someone who it's resonating to about the injustice in the world, whether it's homelessness or lack of education or equality, whatever it may be for you, that that's important to you. However, instead of looking at it as the bigger thing where you want to change the world, start with where you're at and who you can help and how you can help here. Because if you do that and a million other people do that too, that's where we all come together towards the bigger picture and the greater good. But the more you focus on the bigger picture and you want to save the world and want to know all about the world, you forget about right here. Right. So if it's like I said, with homelessness, I think to me in the bigger picture, I think it's crazy. No one should be homeless. No one should be homeless. Right. We have a lot of veterans that are homeless. I'm like, how did you serve your country and you're homeless, or the lack of food in certain places? What? No, that should definitely not be the case. So it makes me sad when I look at it as a whole. However, I know that I can't service everyone, right? But I can service that homeless guy that's over there on the corner. Just for a moment, if it's just to give you a sandwich. I remember one time I got out of the car and I was going into Wawa's and there was this homeless guy outside and he was like, excuse me. And in my mind, instantly, I was ready to be like, I don't have any money because I don't really keep cash, per se. So I already just assumed what he was going to say. But what he said to me was, "Can you buy me a sandwich?" And I about fucking melted. That was my first time ever having a homeless person ask me for food and not ask me for money. And you know, I walked my ass right in there, got what I needed to get, got him a sandwich and a drink, and handed that to him. And of course, I felt guilty real quick because I was instantly ready to thinking he was going to ask me for money and let him know I didn't have any money. And then the other part was, man, vulnerability. Not only are you homeless, but you stop to ask somebody for help and to ask them for food. And it was just so eye-opening that while I had been sad for many times looking at the bigger picture of poverty and homelessness and stuff, that I've also forgot about how I could just make an impact on just one person's life and what that could do to someone. So, yeah. So I love having these conversations and, you know, sparking these different things, because I know there's a lot of us, and I know there's a lot of you that's focusing on the big picture that you're forgetting about right now and what you can do right now, because you think that this small thing or this thing you do now, how is that going to really help, you know, with the big picture of things. And no, this is where it starts. It starts right now. There was this saying that said, if you want to know what your future looks like, look at your present. And I used to think that was the dumbest thing ever, but that was just before I really dug deep and stuff. But it is. You want to know what this bigger picture is for you. It's right now. Because it's the only thing that we actually have is the present moment. That's it. That's what we have, is right now. So, I love you guys. Until next time. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Seeing with Your Soul. If something you heard resonated with you, feel free to rate, review, and share with others. If you are looking to go deeper, you can connect with Tisha Michelle on Instagram at Mindset Slayer or visit www.healingalignedglow.com.